Okay, well, let's have a look at what's going on with the United Nations, because the Human Rights Council there is due to hold a briefing on the dire human rights situation in Gaza and across the occupied Palestinian territories. Hashim Ahilbara joins us now from Geneva, where the UN Special Rapporteur will be speaking. Hashim, what are we expecting here out of this meeting?
It is going to be a busy day, Butcher, today and tomorrow, where we're going to get many reports and updates on the humanitarian situation in Gaza, in particular with what looks like a growing consensus within the international community on the need to take actions now and stand up to the ideals of international human rights. Criticism coming from many leaders about the need to take action and calling what happens in Gaza as genocide. I'm being now joined by the Special Rapporteur of the situation of human rights in the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967. Francesca Albanese, thank you very much indeed. In the many reports you've conducted, you've said that Israel has committed genocide in Gaza. You have an upcoming report in October where I think you will, the tendency is to blame the international community for its silence over what is happening, complicity, and some countries providing assistance to the Israelis despite what is happening.
The first time I spoke about genocide, it was in March 2024, when in my report, Anatomy of a Genocide, I concluded that there were reasonable grounds to believe that Israel was committing acts of genocide in Gaza. Never had I thought or dared thinking through the genocide framework of what was happening to the Palestinians, had I known better, because they were the precursor of this. However, I wouldn't say that my aim is to put the blame on the international community. I wish the international community came back to senses and realized that in the continuous granting of impunity to Israel, there is the path for the capsizing of the international legal order. I mean, this is about Palestine, the Palestinians, the Israelis in the present and long run, but it's also about the stability of the region and what's happening. Clearly it's connected to the Gaza Strip, but it calls upon the responsibility of member states not to violate international law as they breathe, but use international law as and respect thereof as the perimeter and the limit to political action.
Now, if you look at the latest figures from the health authorities in Gaza, more than 64,000 people killed, more than 164 people injured. There are still key players, key countries doing trade with Israel, providing significant military assistance, massive, important wealth funds, which are still doing business with Israel. Is this something that you think must change in the future?
But absolutely, absolutely. To be honest, these should have changed decades ago, because Israel has been building illegal colonies in the illegally occupied territory, which are war crimes, and committing a number of crimes against humanity, including apartheid, which is fully documented. And this should have triggered the compliance with the law of state responsibility, which obliges member states not to aid and assist a state which is committing international wrongdoing, all the more as these amount to crimes. There should have been instead accountability, opening proceedings toward the people who might have been committed crimes, and supporting the International Criminal Court. There has been a clear derail of this process. But now this is a genocide that could have never happened without the support and involvement of a number of actors. In my last report, I spotlighted the private sector, which has been a pillar or other than a profiteer in the illegality of occupation that has turned into the illegality of into the crime of genocide. But there are also member states behind it. There are member states who are actively supporting, actively involved in designing the future of Palestine and the Palestinians. There are others arming, selling. This is wrong, legally and morally wrong.
You may not be able to travel to New York in October for the report because of the sanctions imposed on you by the United States of America. They blame you for trying to investigate, try American and Israeli citizens, and they say this is not something you should be doing. Could you give us how do you react to this?
I keep on saying what I've said before. First of all, it's appalling that a member state resorts to unilateral measures which are illegal against a UN person, a UN official or UN independent experts, as it's in my case. I'm protected under the UN Charter. I'm protected under the Convention on Privileges and Immunities. And yes, I'm the first UN person to be sanctioned. I truly, truly hope I'm also the last one, but I'm not the only one. There are judges and prosecutors of the International Criminal Court, Palestinian human rights organizations who have been sanctioned by the UN, and the implications are enormous. It's really impairing as a person. It creates a chilling effect around you because anyone who engages with a US sanctioned person risks to be arrested and to be subjected to very heavy fines. So the sanctions must be withdrawn one way or another.
Francesca Albanese, Special Rapporteur on the situation of human rights in the Palestinian territory occupied since 1967. Thank you very much indeed for talking to Al Jazeera. Thank you. Richard, as you can see, this is going to build towards more reports, more press conferences throughout the day, and also tomorrow we're expecting the independent international inquiry on the situation in the Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem and Israel, plus an urgent meeting which is going to be held tomorrow on the Israeli attacks against Qatar. This comes against the backdrop of a momentum which is basically on the need for the international community to stop being silent and take an action against the background of what is happening in Gaza and the occupied territory. Richard?
Hashem, thank you. Hashem Ahl-Bara there for us there in Geneva.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.